Hello, Kryptonauts and Ravenites all around the globe. Welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. I am your host, Blockchain John. Today we have a big episode with a lot of people on and a lot of different topics. So this is going to be structured a little differently than all the other podcasts that we have done just because we have a lot of people on the podcast. So these are going to be segmented in like more like a conference format to allow everyone to talk about their topic instead of having so much questions going back and forth and making it more like a chaotic platform. So I'm hoping that this new platform is going to have the flow a lot more better for you as the listeners and for you as the viewer. So with that said, Kryptonauts, let's get started. Today we have my co-host Jake, we have Solus, we have M, Vincent, Ricky, Kent, and Tron. Anyone else? Did I miss anybody else? Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see here. And I believe Crypto Life Crisis. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and get started. So I will start, and following me will be Jake, then Solus, then M, then Vincent, Ricky, Kent, and after Kent will be Tron. He will be last. Everybody has their topics. Now I'll go ahead and remind you when it's your turn as well. Okay, so with that said, we do have some live viewers. For the live viewers that are watching us right now, if you have questions, you are allowed to ask questions in those comments, like Sky Animate. I do see you right now. Shout out from Markets and Prices. Okay, all right. So there's a lot of people coming in, live streaming. Love it. You guys ask questions. Ask some good, high quality professional questions. We have a lot of people on the podcast today. Ask your questions. If it's a good question, I'll ask the person that question. Okay? So with that said, I will start it off with my paper that I wrote in regards to Ravencoin. So here we go. This is what my first paper I've ever written. And this is how it starts. Ravencoin's mainnet was activated on January 3rd, 2018. For those that don't know, this is Bitcoin's birthday. So that was really great for the developers to pay homage to Bitcoin. I'm sure the reason they did this is because Ravencoin is a Bitcoin fork. So overall, it uses the same technology as Bitcoin, but the biggest difference is that Ravencoin is application-specific integrated circuit resistance, meaning the Ravencoin algorithm doesn't allow any ASICs to mine the coin. This is where we enter true decentralization. By being ASIC resistant, this allows the miners to easily get into mining and help the network stay secure. The biggest issue with ASICs is that ASIC rigs are very expensive to the point where you basically need to have thousands, if not millions of dollars to mine the Bitcoin algorithm. Ravencoin, on the other hand, having the benefit of being ASIC resistant, allows anyone with a CPU or GPU to mine the algorithm. This is a beautiful thing, as this basically allows anyone to easily get into blockchain technology with their personal computer. Ravencoin was originally funded by Medici Ventures, a blockchain-focused subsidiary of Overstock.com. Tron Black, over here today, is the lead developer for Ravencoin. The great thing about Ravencoin is that it is 100% open source, meaning everyone can look at all the code in GitHub and choose to improve on it or fork it and create your own chain. It is free for everyone to use. There is a current circulating supply of around, I would say, 9.113 billion coins as of right now. There will be a total cap of 21 billion. Currently, each block reward mines about 5,000 Ravencoin. Each block is produced every single minute. Or should I say discovered? Each block is discovered every single minute. The first expected halving is around January 2022, which is awesome. That's exciting. That's right around the corner, you guys. It's right around the corner. Yes. And when that happens, the reward rate will be cut in half to 2,500 coins per block. There is a trickle effect on the chain when the halving happens. Example, the reward is halved, which halves the inflation. This in turn lowers the available supply, and which creates a higher demand. The higher demand will naturally make the price per coin go higher, which overall gives the miners an incentive to continue to mine Ravencoin regardless of smaller rewards. There are many wallets that support Ravencoin. The best wallet will be the Ravencoin QT wallet. Of course, the reason I recommend this wallet is because it is the main wallet for the Ravencoin network. You can also create assets directly using the wallet. This is the only disadvantage, in my opinion. Okay, this is in my opinion, is that you have to sync the entire chain, which does store data onto your hard drive. And people that are just getting into blockchain don't really want to store that much data onto their computers, which is very understandable. But there are many great alternatives. But understand that by storing this data, you are helping the network stay decentralized, which is a good thing. That's part of being into crypto, part of being this blockchain technology, right? But it's understandable if you just want to, come in, check things out. There are other wallets, such as Zelcore wallet, another thing that I personally use and I really like. I personally love using Zelcore because it is asset aware, meaning, and this is very important, keep in mind there are a lot of wallets out there that do accept Ravencoin, but that are not asset aware. They will not recognize your NFTs, okay? But Zelcore does. And this is not a sponsored episode by Zelcore or anything. I really like them. I do use their wallets. I love them, and I will always recommend them, okay? I personally love using Zelcore because it is aware, asset aware, meaning that you or someone else can send non-fungible tokens to your wallet and can view them directly from your wallet. There are also many other wallets you could use, but I'm not certain if they're asset aware. But they're still very good alternatives to store your Ravencoin. Here are a few wallets: Atomic Wallet, Kobo Wallet, Exodus Wallet, Trust Wallet, and of course, there's many, many more out there, right? There are a number of people around the globe, especially right now watching us live. There are people around the globe, around the world right now, that are using and or helping to improve the Ravencoin network. Today, we have a few people on the podcast that will have a chance to talk about Ravencoin. I am blessed to have everyone here to talk about Ravencoin. So, with that said, thank you for being on the podcast. And now, I'm going to pass this nest over to Jake. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate that you went that far. You really hit a lot of points, and I'm actually kind of glad that you talked about ASICs, because I'm going to talk about ASICs. For those of you who aren't aware, I hope you can hear me okay, but I'm going to be talking about the mining potential of switching from ETH, since ETH is going to go to proof of stake, from proof of work where it currently is. Now, I was a little worried about this. I've been doing mining, 7 years, and I only recently got into mining, about a year and a half ago, doing GPU mining. Previous to that, I was doing ASIC mining. I still have a lot of ASICs, but Ravencoin is ASIC resistant per John's commentary, and it's not that I ever really intended on using it for that purpose, and I can't, but there is a controversy, I'd say, with the concept of ASICs. So once people start getting ASICs on a particular blockchain, you're pretty much locking everyone else out. There's no way that a CPU or a GPU can really compete. Even a very large GPU farm can't really compete with an ASIC farm. But then, of course, the problem with ASICs is they're application specific, and they can do nothing else. So they can only do that one algorithm. So one thing I was worried about as a miner myself and a farm owner is that when Ethereum runs over to proof of stake, that where am I going to go next? Right. This is actually a big controversy with the EIP 1559 changeover that's happening this month. is that it's going to reduce the amount of money that miners get from Ethereum. So, well, they're going to start looking elsewhere, right? Well, the expectation was that the price of Ethereum would go up, and it did, then it came right back down again. So the hope was if the price went above, let's say, $3,500 US, then the reduction of the value that was produced, through the transactional action of Ethereum would kind of cancel that out. Well, it did go up today. I'm noticing. I think it was down a couple $100, and that's back up 100. It's still in the low 2000s US fiat price, but it hasn't proven to be so bad yet. Now, there's no telling what will happen in the future. I'm not trying to talk all ETH on this, but like I said, I'm an ETH miner for now, but I've been doing Ravencoin just a little bit. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was how the expectation of the price of Raven has been matching Bitcoin's value over time. Bitcoin and Raven have been tracking pretty consistently. Now, because Raven has 1,000 times more coins than Bitcoin does, it roughly could be 1,000 times less valuable on the fiat market. I couldn't tell you explicitly right now. Let's see, Bitcoin's at what, 35,000 roughly, divided by 1,000. Is Ravencoin at $35? No, it's not. It's about 5 cents. So if it were to go and track Bitcoin, which is the expectation. I know a lot of people have been talking about this when the price was going up a couple months ago, that it would become, it would track exactly, and people were thinking, oh, well, by January of 2022, Ravencoin will be worth like, let's say $2.30, because then that would have tracked Bitcoin. Now, we don't know the future, no one does, but even as I've said before, if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be looking at 2022. I'd be looking much further down the line. So I would say that as far as switching over price-wise, I think Raven still has a really good shot. Does that mean I'm constantly mining Raven right now? No, because Ethereum is still worth more. And even though Raven has tracked really, really close to Ethereum as far as value goes, even with mining, even in the ramp up that happened in the last 6 months, it still hasn't really caught Ethereum. But then that's not the problem. The problem, like I said before, is proof of stake. Once miners can't mine anymore on Ethereum, what are the alternatives? Well, there are a lot of alternatives, but then there are also alternatives that are, the ASIC country. There's alternatives that are in the CPU country. The thing what we're looking at is for most people who are doing Ethereum, which are doing for the most part, and obviously there is ASICs on Ethereum, GPUs. GPUs can last an incredibly long time. So can ASICs, except if you take care of them. But the thing I'm most concerned about is when we do the transition, and I should make mention of this, that Vitaly Buterin had said that it was probably going to be about this time this year, or possibly later this year, that Ethereum was going to transition over to proof of stake fully. But now he's saying it'll be the end of 2022. It's given a lot of Ethereum miners pause. Oh, well, I can go even longer. I don't have to switch to Raven. Well, but if Raven becomes actually more valuable because every single time you produce a block in Raven, you get a lot more coin than you do with Ethereum, maybe value, even if the value of Raven went up to, like, let's say $2.30, $2.50 by January of next year, it would eclipse Ethereum before we move off of Ethereum. I'm hoping that happens. We'll see. I think the end goal of this is not just, it has to, I'm going to put it this way. Ethereum miners and Ethereum farmers don't really look at like the emotional state of Ethereum. They're not looking at like, oh, well, I feel really good about Raven. Raven's an amazing coin. No, they don't think about that. They don't think about the fact that Ethereum has, Uniswap and all these different kinds of, they don't think about that. They don't care. They're like, does this make me money? Yes. Okay, I'm staying here. So from that standpoint, if Raven becomes the next big thing, and it's definitely a contender, we will see a lot of people switching off of Ethereum. And in fact, it'll probably be momentary. It'll be like, oh, bye-bye, Ethereum. You were good while you lasted. I'm over here now. But there are a lot of other coins. I'm not going to talk about this as Raven podcast. There's other things I've been looking into, other contenders. But I think that my prediction is if by, let's say, January, maybe February, March next year, Ethereum, Raven, is, like I said, $2.50 or more, I think we will see a drastic decline in the number of people mining Ethereum or GPUs. So I've got nothing else after that. Anybody got questions? I don't know if Blockchain John saw them from the live podcast and people want to ask me, but if not, I can pass it off to Solus. What do you say, John? Are you
Yep,
still there?
sounds good. Yep, I just had to unmute there. Yeah. So who do we have next? After that, we do have Solus talking about assets on Ravencoin. All right, Solus, you are up. Stage is all yours, my friend, or the nest is all yours.
Thank you. So I guess I'll start with what assets are. I know a lot of new users don't even Ravencoin has assets, and I think they're just as important of a distinction from Bitcoin as ASIC resistance would be. So an asset is basically a token that is built on top of the blockchain. So you can have a main asset, which would be like a .com of the internet. You can have a sub asset, which would be like a regular domain of the internet. So apple.com, a sub asset would be like Apple. And then you can have a unique asset, which is a one of one version of a token, basically. So assets can be project shares. So like they could represent gold or stock. They could be virtual goods. So they could represent like in-game items or tickets for sporting events. Or they could represent credit. So like gift cards, airline miles, or rewards points. Some things people have done with assets on Ravencoin. There's a project called Vincent Wines, which trades wine futures. So you can actually like pre-buy wine that's still growing on the vine, and you'd have proof of ownership that you own the wine, right? So you could trade wine futures that way. There was a project called Gun Certs, which would tokenize gun ownership while retaining privacy. So that's a dead project now, but it shows the types of things that you can do with assets. I think that's pretty interesting. A lot of people use assets for art or basic, just like NFTs, right? I made an asset called Scamcoin and just used it to market. Basically, I marketed assets themselves. So I just sent a ton of Scamcoin to people, and on Reddit and Telegram and Discord, a lot of people that didn't know what assets were learned more about assets from my stupid asset that I made. Synth is a asset creator who has been making like games and other things with assets and doing a lot to help assets. Like he's made basically an eBay clone to trade NFTs on Raven, which is pretty nice. And Humble is another asset that was made that pays dividends based on a GPU miner that mines Raven. So anybody that owns the Humble token can get dividends from a GPU that's mining, or that's what they claim. So within the last month or so, Ben has been working on atomic swaps really heavily with Ravencoin. And atomic swaps on Raven are like 1,000 times more powerful than atomic swaps on most other chains. So you could do anything with atomic swaps. You can make a decentralized exchange with atomic swaps. So I can say I'll trade one scam coin for one Raven. I can sign my half of the transaction. I can post the transaction online, and anybody that sees this can copy that and complete the transaction on their own end. My side can never be changed unless I spend my output. But the transaction is always valid as long as I've never spent my output. So there's no way to like scam people or do things like that. You can also do things like liquidity pools with atomic swaps if you get creative. Um, so you could add liquidity to your assets. You can do time locks with assets. So you could say, I'm creating this asset, I'll sell it for X amount today, and I'll buy it at Y amount tomorrow. Um, things like that. So the way that you store data on Ravencoin would be by using IPFS, which is a decentralized way of storing data. I'm trying to keep it very vague and easy for newer people, but you can go to ravencoinipfs.com. That's a project by Doug. He was going to be on the podcast today, but couldn't make it. All you have to do is drag a file to the screen, it'll upload it, and then you can easily create an asset from that data that is uploaded. Ricky, who was on the podcast, has a great website called ravennft.art, and he can probably help you make an asset as long as you're doing things ethically. And he could definitely walk you through that. I know he loves helping people. And let's see, the last thing I had to say was if you wanted to use atomic swaps right now, you can go to raventrader.net. That's Ben's website. It's got a ton of atomic swaps posted, and he's made a program called Raven Trader Pro, which is on GitHub, that makes the asset atomic swap process super easy to do. So that's really all I have to say. But does anybody have any questions?
Not sure if somebody had a question there, but was that it? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and thank you. I like that you went ahead and just did plug in Doug's what is it Ravencoin IPFS in there. Awesome, appreciate it. That's the reason I was gonna have him on the podcast to talk about that. So thank you for doing that. Let's see. Next,
Yeah, of course.
we do
Thank you for
have
having me.
absolutely. Thank you. Next, we do have M talking about the Ravencoin community. So M, where are you at, Senor? Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, for those of you who don't know me, which I'm sure is most of you, I've been mining Raven since the pretty early days, a little before the first exchange listing, which I believe was Crypto Bridge back then. I don't live on Discord, but spent quite a bit of time on the Mindpool channel back then, which was great fun. And I just was struck by the community and just the quality of people, and we're all helping each other out and wanting to make things better. I was absolutely thrilled to find such a rare quality alt in a growing ocean of digital garbage. uh, and just like others have already mentioned today, Raven struck me for having a fair start. It's proof of work, which I strongly favor, not just because I mine, but because it secures the network with real world value and cost. It's based on Bitcoin, which I hold in high regard, but it adds to that ASIC resistance and this amazing asset layer. Plus, it's got this positive, engaged community. Having said that, as great as Raven is, just like Bitcoin, it's not perfect. We should always strive to improve that in an open-minded yet realistic way. I'm unfortunately not a dev, but I like discussing ways to make it better, and I want to encourage open reception to ideas for improvement. I think true fans of Raven don't want to fork Raven in their own thing. The cryptoscape doesn't need yet another coin where there are already way too many. Those of us who love Raven, we want to see it, as great as already is, become even better. Some of Raven's weaknesses aren't really an issue right now, but when it gets the adoption we all want to see, they will be an issue. Waiting until it's an in-the-moment problem seems short-sighted to me. That's what other crypto often does, and it makes for a hot mess, as we can see in several others right now. I don't want Raven to get to that place if it can be avoided. A couple people speaking after me are going to get in some details on things I've also been thinking about, ways to make Raven better. Sometimes I like to look at Bitcoin as an example. It recently voted or signaled in an upgrade called Taproot. While I'd like to see Raven adopt Taproot as well, since it makes several things better, what I really want to point out right now is the method in which Taproot was voted in. It was voted in by mining pools, and there are only about a dozen pools in the world that make up the majority of those votes, not to mention those pools, just by their very nature, have a bias. The system of voting is centralized and unfair. It's not the voice of Bitcoin, it's the voice of just a few with a common agenda. And sure, miners can choose which pool they put their hash on, but still it's very limiting in how you can go about having a voice. It'd be great to see Raven improve upon this. And like I said, there'll be more about this coming up, so I won't go into it any further right now. One other part of Raven's design that seems a little too static to me is the asset creation fee and burn rate. It's pretty much fine right now, but later on with adoption and higher prices, it won't be competitive. It'd be great to see some open-minded discussion on how to make that better in a forward-looking manner. I've heard some interesting ideas from others, and I mainly just want to encourage positive dialogue to continue in striving to make this great Raven as good as it can be. With that in mind, thank you to all the developers and everyone who's working on this. The hard work and time you put in doesn't go unnoticed. I wish I had your skills so I could get my hands into it a little bit deeper myself. But yeah, so thank you, John. That's what I had to say.
All right. Thank you. All right. Question.
I got a question for you. Do I refer to you as M, by the way?
Yes, that would be perfect.
So M, if I hear you correctly, you're saying that Taproot was voted into Bitcoin in a way that didn't necessarily represent the voice of the miners or the network, and instead it represented the voice of just a select few. Did I hear you correctly?
I would phrase it a little differently. I would say that the method for signaling Taproot was handled by pools. It was up to a couple handfuls of pools to actually do the signaling for deciding whether Taproot would become an active thing on Bitcoin or not.
Okay, that's interesting. I'd definitely love to chat with you offline about that. I mean, as I'm coming later, I'm jumping ahead a little bit to voting, but I'm curious to see if there's some sort of voting apparatus we could use that would make Ravencoin different. That'd
Exactly. Cool. I would love that too.
Yeah, that's all my question, though. I thank you very much. I appreciate you mentioning that.
You bet.
All right. Thanks for the question. Thanks for the answers. Love it. So with that said, we are roughly around halfway through, and the live viewers just keep growing. The questions keep rolling in. So I hope somebody out there's, I don't know, picking up those questions, because yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming in. Some of them are for Tron. One of them was for M. I guess people want to reach out to you, M, on Discord. But right now, for everybody that is watching live on YouTube specifically, if you have a Ravencoin asset aware wallet address, leave it here. I will choose 10 people. The first 10 people I'm going to choose, and I will be gifting some C3 tokens. It is our podcast token that we give to every single one of our guests for being on the podcast. This is the first time we are giving it to people that have never been on the podcast. You guys are probably first time listeners, first time viewers. But right now is your chance to get some C3 tokens for free. For free. They're not on the market. These are gift tokens. So leave your Ravencoin wallet that is asset aware. Okay, make sure that connects. Asset aware, such as Zelcore or the Ravencoin QT wallet. All right, leave that there with your questions, of course. With your questions. So with that said, who do we have next? Vincent. Do we have Vincent in the house? Vincent will be talking about the burn rate and Raven tokenomics.
Anybody else had trouble hearing you, but I think I just was introduced.
Yes, sir. You are up.
I think your mic is breaking up, at least on my end of it. Anyhow, how you doing? I'm Vincent. Ravencoin was the first blockchain token cryptocurrency I got involved with, and I dove in head first. My mic working?
It's so. We got you. We got you. Just keep going.
We can definitely hear you.
Uh-oh. Looks like... Okay, Vincent, you there? Test, mic check. Vincent.
He's obviously talking, but we're not hearing him.
Yeah.
So, because I can see his icon lighting up.
Anything. This is what happens when you live stream. You get too much technical difficulties. It's part of it. It's part of the experience, everyone. Enjoy. Hang out. For those that are watching live, this is your chance to go ahead and attach your Raven address. Don't forget that, your Ravencoin address. That is asset aware. Anything. Vincent, you're up.
And to make that point, if you have a asset aware address, that will probably be something from like Zelcore, like John had mentioned before. So if you don't already have Zelcore, go get it. You got a chance to go download it, get your own asset aware address for Ravencoin, so you can receive assets from John. The more you come on these podcasts, the more you'll get a chance to have more of those tokens, and eventually they'll be worth a lot of money. That's why we're sending them out.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to skip Vincent right now. I'm not sure what's going on. I'll have to reach out to him right now. But let's keep moving because we are live. We do have Ricky in the house. Overall state of the NFT ecosystem on Raven and a bit about Raven NFT, RV NFT. I'm curious about that too. So Ricky. Ricky. Anything? Huh.
Somebody put their address in the live chat, John. So now you got someone else to give free assets to. Or well, explicit assets to. They're not free.
Okay, looks like we're all having technical difficulties here at the last round. I was trying to make this a solid home run with no technical difficulties, but it's not my fault. Okay, not my fault. Don't blame me. I'm doing everything that I could to make this work on a live stream. It's very difficult, without a doubt. It's very difficult to get so many people together. Keep in mind, everybody here, they're not just sitting on a hardline at their home. There's literally people on the podcast that are at airports, that are at coffee shops. Raise your hand. that are just all around everywhere that that they're normally not at. So doing live streams on a podcast, it's very difficult to try to get people all in here, and they are taking their time to make sure that it works. So it looks like we lost Ricky. Womp womp womp. Oh, he sent a message. Let's see what
Ken's
happens.
not disappointed. He gets to go next.
Okay, Ricky is out. He's having too many technical difficulties. Oh man, that's unfortunate. I wonder what the chat has to say about that. If there are questions, go ahead and leave them. That's okay. No worries. Who do you have next? Hey, we have the infamous Kent Bull. Welcome. He will be talking about the state of voting.
Hey, I noticed Ricky just really... Yeah, I'd love to jump right into that. I see Ricky just got here. You want me to just go ahead and loop him in?
Let's see. Ricky, are you mic checked and working? I hear a chirp. Just a chirp. Yeah. This is a Ravencoin. Not the Tweety Bird house. Yeah. No. It sounds like you're typing. I'm not sure what's going on here.
It's just a poor connection.
Yeah.
Okay, I could jump right in. I can go quick anyway.
Perfect. No, don't, take your time, please. Please take your time. I know you're excited and you go very quick, and that's the thing is that you don't want to leave people in the dust. Okay, we're not as quick as you are. Okay, I'm the coyote. You are the road runner. I want to make sure that this works perfectly. All right, let's do this.
I love it. Okay, all right. Me and my background noise will do voting. Okay, so currently, voting is available on the Ravencoin blockchain with what are called non-expiring UTXOs. And part of the roadmap for Ravencoin in the future, at least voting in the future, is to add a capability to have expiring UTXOs. And there are some GitHub links that if you have questions about specifically what's on the roadmap, like, okay, what about vote description, ballots, distribution tracking? We've got all that inside of the GitHub repository. And what I'm doing right now with voting is I'm actually doing an analysis to determine whether or not Ravencoin voting is applicable to the problem that I'm solving, which the problem that I'm solving is precinct level voting, and then kind of stacking it up on there to like legislative districts, counties, and so on and so forth. So I'm actually going deep into the Ravencoin voting, and part of what needs to be done with Ravencoin voting that hasn't yet been complete is integrating voting into the user interface, like the Qt user interface, and then the mobile apps. So that's something that I'm looking into as well. I know the background noise is kind of loud here, but so that's the current state of Raven with regard to voting. And I know that the Tron and whoever else actually added the original voting features may have a little bit more to say about it. Then again, it's also relevant to what was it Jake that talked about? I'm just looking at our list here, our lineup. Jake talked about the Taproot upgrade, I think, and he talked about voting. I'm curious to see whether or not we can use on-chain voting with Ravencoin to actually do some sort of governance, maybe in accordance with atomic swaps and something else, but that's kind of long down the line. So my primary interest in Ravencoin voting now is if I can apply it to my particular use case. So that's where voting is with regard to Ravencoin, and I may have missed something. So if there are any questions or any corrections, I think that would be a great time. Told you that was going to be fast, John.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, good. Were there any questions on that? Anything? Going once. Going twice. All right. So let's go ahead before we get. I think Tron is going to be the last person of the day. But before we do that, let's go over to.
Mike here.
What was that?
Might be back. I'm on my third computer trying.
Ooh, nice. Perfect. All right. Vincent back in the house. He sounds fantastic. Let's go ahead.
I didn't get to hear the audio that and whoever else just spoke trying to do this transition.
No worries.
All right.
All yours.
So I'm back. I don't know if you heard anything that I said before.
No, nothing came through, Vincent. But if you can, please speak a little closer to the microphone or a little bit louder.
Okay. Raven was my first cryptocurrency, and I dove in head first. And it is a brilliant, amazing design with tokenized assets. And with the hype of NFTs now, people are kind of myopic about what the potential of Raven is. And while it's good for awareness, it's just a tiny fraction of power that Raven has. It is, in my opinion, it is an economic revolution, and it is going to change the face of commerce as we know it, with atomic swaps and, of course, the currency, the crypto peer-to-peer exchanging. With that said, I have a topic of mine that is my soapbox, and it is the only barrier of entry which is going to prevent Raven from being the monster that it should be, in my opinion, of course, and that is the asset creation cost. Everybody will say, Raven is a one-to-one, one Raven equals one Raven, but that economic model is not in full effect, and it's not even close at this point. So that has to be factored in, that people are going to convert whatever other currency they choose to Raven in order to create that asset. And also, with that said, the old economic model has the different extreme price structures that is present in the current asset creation. And I don't believe that is necessary because it is a tool. And in order to get people to use the tool, we got to give it to them, and give it to them at cheap cost, because with asset creation and unique assets as the brilliance of Raven is designed, there needs to be a heavy supply side forever, or not forever, for several decades. And there's several examples that you can create that will easily show a mass burning of Ravencoin, which would cause a supply problem. People don't think 21 billion is just an astronomical number, but when you break it down, it can easily be um, burned up quickly. That that's basics. And there's an article I had written in Medium, and I guess John can share it on the media site here, that covers all the different perspectives of my study, and I do believe I have studied the economics of Ravencoin more than anybody else, and I will gladly discuss any topic that's highlighted in the article. But as M said, the community just starts the name calling, and the legacy as is the biggest um, counter argument, which Sears will show you that legacy means absolutely nothing. For the other point is, we are 4 years old. We don't have a legacy yet. We haven't even started. And the only main argument against the topic that I feel is scalability, which I'm also discussed, which is Taproot and or Segwit, which Kinkajo is kind of the spokesman for that. And if scalability is a problem, A, it's not a problem today, and B, it needs to be addressed just as the burn rate, which these discussions in the community are hard to have. So this kind of monologue here, which I wasn't expecting, is kind of a good point to get it out, and let's have the discussion. I know there are many that agree with me. None are as boisterous as I am, but these are two topics, scalability and burn rate, that I believe Raven needs to fine tune to make it, to give it no barrier of entries and allow it to become the monster that it should be. And I guess I'll wrap it there.
Perfect. Thank you, Vincent. Are there any questions? I know that there are some people agreeing with you, Vincent, in YouTube. So there you go. That's awesome. Any questions?
I'll add to it that when the little moon that we just experienced happened, of course, because this is my soapbox, I monitor the Discord. I'm kind of only in Discord. I don't go to the other social sites. But dozens upon dozens of people came in asking this question: what happens to the burn rate when Raven becomes more expensive? It might go unnoticed by a lot of people, but I notice it because that is my topic. And it is a concern. And I know I get some, direct messages, and people have left the community with this in mind. And there is competition out there. I was direct messaged just yesterday with, check this out, one of the other coins that is, getting closer to this goal. And we can't, just like Ethereum is being now abandoned because of the gas fees and the new mining. Raven is not above that kind of competition, and that should not be ignored.
All right. All set, Vince. Thank you. You can go ahead and mute your microphone there.
This is Ricky. Can you guys hear me now? Or no?
Ricky, you are coming in fantastic. Love it. Thank you. You are actually
thank
up. So
I know it.
let's see. What do we have? Ricky, overall state of the NFT ecosystem, and about how do you say is it RV NFT or is it like Raven NFT?
It was RV NFT. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want, I guess.
All right. The nest is yours.
Oh, so I guess I'm just going on a monologue, huh? Is that how that works? Sorry, I haven't been involved in any of this conversation because I couldn't hear anything. Yeah, I don't know. Just started on RV NFT a couple of months ago. Kind of saw the whole boom with the Ethereum NFT scene going with all the celebrities, and just kind of didn't want to see Raven miss the moment on that opportunity. So I was at an AMA, kind of how the idea started. I was at one of Tron's AMAs at Braveland, and he kind of talked about how people can create their own main asset and then offer to others an ability to create assets for them at a reduced cost, minus having to pay the upfront 500 Raven for the main asset issuance. And so kind of had this idea that you know create a website where I can kind of build an artist collective, maybe kind of gain interest, reach out across a bunch of channels, build up a social media presence, um, just kind of try to siphon artists that were struggling and maybe didn't get their artwork seen with all the competition that's going on with Ethereum, and then just try to kind of use RVNFT as a spot to kind of bring people together. Because artists have many talents, it's not just the NFTs. I mean, they can create designs for people's websites. They can create cool things, for other marketing purposes and whatnot. And so I think the idea of bringing artists into the Ravencoin community is pretty huge deal. Especially since, in my opinion, we don't really have uh, any kind of marketing push going on. We don't really have a volunteer marketing team. And so I just thought kind of, it'd be a good thing to kind of get going with Raven and then, or with RVNFT and then, starting things up and kind of along the same time as Stibbits or Zyatech or whatever they're called, when they were doing their live auctions and whatnot. And it kind of got a really nice reception, at the start with well over 100 people attending their auctions. And so I found a couple people, kind of artists early on, McLeod, huge credit to him. Without him, our VNFT would have never got it started. He kind of really helped put the website together, build the website. And we kind of did work within Braveland to build booths for people at expo halls. And so I kind of was able to network with other artists that way. I found people like Synth, Portland Poetry, and a couple others who kind of jumped on board with the idea early on. And so we were kind of like able to start something. And from then it's kind of grown. And I mean, I'm in it well over 100 NFTs for different artists, and we've got our own Discord server where people are talking, artists are collaborating, and and thinking of ideas. And I got a lot of people working on some marketing things. I got a really cool thing coming out, a white paper, white paper that Tron and Bruce wrote. We're going to actually make it really cool, interactive 3D, flippable pages, like really cool. I think we're going to have the coolest white paper in all of the blockchain when this thing is done. I'm super excited about it. We've been working hard on getting that out there. And so versus just having a simple Word file as a white paper, we're going to make a really cool token that I hope to try to get out to the masses. I'm going to mint a bunch of them and just spread them around. And if people are interested in the Ravencoin community are interested in using that token as a way to help market the network, then hopefully that'll come to fruition. So when that's done, I'll definitely be getting that word out there to people and try to push that as a tool we can use to market the chain. Another thing we got going on with Scotty and Deadheaded is an NFT viewer wallet, and Zeb Retief is also involved in it too. We're trying to kind of get the first NFT viewer wallet out on Ravencoin, where people can hold all their NFTs in a wallet and just kind of flip back and forth with them and view them. And hopefully that in combination with Raven Trader, the Atomic Swap platform that just got released, we can kind of create a marketplace where people can kind of take their tokens, put them in a wallet. They have a little digital art collection, flip back and forth, look at all the art that they've collected, and then they can obviously put it on a platform like Raven Trader if they want to sell them off or swap them with other assets or swap them for Raven or whatever. Trying to think of what else. Yeah, that's about what I wanted to talk about as far as the state of the NFTs on Raven. Anyone got any questions?
More a comment. Like it's always seemed like to me like Ravencoin is the NFT blockchain because we have assets. I mean, we're pretty much optimized for NFTs.
Absolutely.
And I know you can create ERC20 token super easy with a smart contract, but it's like may as well use a blockchain that's optimized for assets. I mean, tell me what you think is the difference between an NFT and an asset.
Well, I mean, it's just NFTs. It's a unique asset, right? So it's 5 Raven to create. I mean, that's right now is about a quarter, in cost, and then to transfer it on Raven is a fraction of a penny. And so it's like artists can get set up minting on Ravencoin for such a low cost that, like, if their work doesn't sell or it doesn't become popular, or God forbid, we can't, there's no interest in it, then it's not $100 cost or whatever, or a lot of art. If artists don't want to mint their own, spend the 500 Raven to mint their own, so it's like, yeah, of course, Raven's optimized for NFTs. It is the NFT blockchain. What it needs is awareness. And so having projects like RV NFT and what some of the stuff Synth's doing, and Mango Farms, obviously, doing a lot of great work with artists and then the NFT space as well, and they're creating some really cool things with like Ravencoin IPFS, or places to house the uniques and whatnot. So we're all kind of coming together and putting things together, and hopefully, if there is this next wave of the bull run or whatever, and or NFTs start to kind of get back in the spotlight with some kind of big news or whatever, Ravencoin will at least hopefully have some tools and some infrastructure and actual built up ecosystem to kind of hit the moment at this time, instead of missing it like we did last time, unfortunately. So
yeah, thanks. That makes sense. I just want to make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. I've always told all my friends, yeah, Ravencoin is like the NFT blockchain.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Great answer with unique assets, by the way. I need to make sure and remember that. Unique assets.
Yeah. I mean, you call them NFTs. I think, technically on the core wallet and whatnot, it's listed as unique assets, and obviously, unique asset can be something more than artwork, so, but yeah, we have to, I guess when you're selling it to other people, you have to show them that unique asset is an NFT.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Anyone else? Questions? Going once, going twice. All right, we're locking that up. Ricky, thank you for coming on the podcast and enjoying sitting around in the nest with us. I appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you. It was quite the nightmare trying to get connected. So.
I know it. I was seeing
I
you
was able
struggling.
to.
We're going back and forth trying to figure this out. Okay, well, we got you in. We finally got you in. I appreciate that. All right, so it looks like we only have Tron left, right? Did I catch everyone? Yeah, good. Okay. But before we get to Tron, Jake, please confirm that there's only 2 Ravencoin asset-aware addresses that have been submitted in the YouTube live stream. Please, for the YouTube viewers out there, if you're watching us live, please leave a comment or a question along with your Ravencoin NFT asset-aware address, and I will be giving you some C3 tokens. This is the first time we're doing it. It's probably going to be the only time we're doing it. Only because we did have some of these coins donated back to us, which is great because this in turn we're giving to other people. Amazing. We love it. And these coins only go out to those that are on the podcast. But you, YouTube viewers, are part of this Ravencoin community and I think should be rewarded. You're here live all around the globe. I think you should be rewarded. So leave your Ravencoin address. All right. But before we get to Tron, we do have some questions. I'm just going to go down the list of questions. And let's see, going from let's see here. Scroll back up to the top. Let's see. Tron, when, W-E-N, when, P2SH. I'll let you answer that when it's your turn. Let's see. Cheap ASICs, everyone. Nice. Ricky, you are in the house, Ricky. There's a shout out for you. Awesome. Let's see. Explain liquidity pools. I think you guys got that covered. Community effort. Great. M, who are you, M? People in Discord want to know who you are. Please reach out to the Ravencoin community in Discord. Let's see. Do we have a secret guest? No, we do not have a secret guest. We have Tron Black, the man, the main developer of Ravencoin. Here, please. All right, let's see. Question. Tron Black wrote the Raven white paper along with Bruce Fenton. Why is Bruce silent about Raven while he is widely promoting assets and securities? Is it strategical? Okay, all right. So I don't know if Tron, you want to answer that in a bit. Let's see, next. Let's see, going down the list. Vincent doesn't know the difference between a token and a coin. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see who has the link to Vincent paper. Vincent, if you don't mind posting the paper over at C3 Media on Discord. Or if you're on the YouTube, if you're watching this live, Vincent, if you can post this in the YouTube so people can get that from you. Let's see, P2SH update. Of course, everybody wants to know P2SH update. Okay. Hopefully we get a chance to listen to everyone in the end. We did get everybody in the end, right? Yeah, thumbs up. Awesome. We were able to make it work. Thank you, Ricky. Awesome. Thank you for doing your hardest to try to get on this podcast. I love it. Again, when to P2SH vote? We need Atomic Dex asset trading. When can Raven assets be transferred from mobile wallet? Okay. Let's see. Can we get Ricky? Ricky's already on. We already got him. Okay, the burn rate shouldn't change. Okay, let's see. Talk about the new NFT wallet. I don't know. Ricky, talk about the new NFT wallet. I don't know if you did that.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. It's in development right now. So, I mean, we're kind of working back and forth. We're kind of creating, I think, hopefully to create a standard JSON file for NFTs so that so you can upload the JSON with links to the image. You have data for the artist, the edition size. I actually create certificates of authenticity with all my NFTs that I mint on Raven NFT, and there'll be a link to that as well, and like a description of the NFT, and so we can kind of put all of that into an NFT that we mint, and the mobile browser will actually pick up that data and display it. And so not only will you have the actual image of the NFT or the 3D model or the movie file or the GIF or whatever, you can also get the artist's information, maybe even I'm not sure exactly what the details, what's going to be displayed or whatnot, but possibly links to their social media accounts so that you can kind of see, what other things they're doing or what else they're involved in, or if they have any other NFTs for sale and whatnot. And so the cool thing is that this wallet will actually be um, funded by a central wallet. People won't actually even need Ravencoin to, and obviously they'll need it to transfer into the wallet, but to transfer out of it, or to transfer to other people, you won't even need to spend any Raven or have any Raven. So that's kind of a cool feature of it. We're kind of going back and forth as whether it's going to be a viewer wallet, if it's actually going to view the NFTs that are sitting in something like a core wallet or something like that, or if it's actually going to be its own web wallet where it actually holds the NFT. So as of right now, there's kind of some details that we have to go over, but yeah, that's kind of pretty much it. It'll be branded with RV NFT too, so kind of similar color theme to the kind of the stuff we got going on our website, and so just another tool we're building for artists to get their work exposed and out there, and get people interested in actually purchasing NFTs from artists. So kind of, just another step in developing the ecosystem.
Perfect. Thank you. That was nice. That was a nice answer. Nice, solid answer. Good. Love it. Okay. Let's see. Continuing on. I heard NFTs were profitable. Okay. Let's see. Rank. There is Raven Marketing. Not sure what he is missing. Social accounts, websites, and money being spent for promoting. Okay. Let's see. Mango Farms gave
Where's
us.
Where's it
at? Exactly. Mango Farms gave us RIP11, which ties a unique asset address. This could be used for membership and a lot more. If we had a service that needed membership, this could get expensive. 100 million users would be about 500 million Raven. That is a lot. Let's see. Questions. Let's see where these go. Ricky, how long will a purchased NFT be visible in gallery?
So it'll always be in the gallery. Whatever I mint, it just goes right into the gallery. And so you can kind of view, all it is just a sample preview image that gets linked to the Asset Explorer, Scotty's Asset Explorer. And so you can click on that link and then see the NFT that's minted. Sometimes what we do with RV NFT is we'll actually mint low resolution preview images, and then actually just get the buyer, whoever pays for it, we'll get them through encrypted IPFS on Ravencoin IPFS. We'll get them the passkey in order to download the full resolution file. So they'll actually be the only owners that can actually see. It's one of the big critiques that people like to say with NFTs is, I could just right click it and I have the file, or I have the image, and why should I pay for it? And it's like, well, you're just adding an ownership layer to a piece of digital artwork, and so it's kind of liberating for artists. And so being able to do it this way, where you kind of offer a preview image as an NFT, you give them the ownership, you give the buyer the ownership of the token, and then they'll actually be the only ones who can actually see, download, and use and have the rights to the full resolution image. And so hopefully that answers what you were asking.
All right. So I think this is
sorry, I'm very long-winded.
No, that's okay. I appreciate that. This is quality answers. The people want to know this, and giving short answers, in my opinion, if I'm asking these questions and you give me a two-liner, it's like, well, I mean, what's the point of even being here if you're not giving me a quality answer if I don't know anything about this project? So going into detail about this, I'm sure that the Ravenites out there around the world watching and listening are appreciating you taking the time to really give some good, thoughtful answers. So the last question that we have here that's currently live is another one for Tron. Is privacy going to be implemented by the core team? I ask because it appears in the white paper it's necessary to hide assets in your wallet as well as to protect issuers. This is from Bitcoin Brainstormer. All right. So with that said, Tron, welcome to the nest. You will be talking about security updates and P2SH. Love it. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Perfectly
Just nod.
Fine. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Perfect. So first, I want to say thanks for having me on. It's awesome. Appreciate it. The listening to all these projects that are being built is amazing. Pretty exciting stuff. So that's great. I also wanted to just mention a couple of other asset-aware wallets. You mentioned Zelcore and Qt Core, but Stibbits is also asset-aware. So is the iPhone Raven wallet. The Android Raven wallet is as well, but it's not super stable. So you might want to wait on that one. And then also Mango Farm Assets, which works both on a web browser and on a phone. So just if you want to create an asset-aware wallet, you can use any of those. So I just wanted to mention that. Let's jump straight to P2SH. If you're not familiar with that, it stands for Pay to Script Hash. And it's always existed in Ravencoin, but you couldn't use assets with it. So because we forked from Bitcoin, you could always create pay to script hash Raven, but you couldn't work with assets. And what pay to script hash allows you to do, and the important part of that, is that you can create more complex scripts than you can ordinarily. And then you can also kind of hide the script. So you actually create a script, and a script could be things like multi-sig scripts, et cetera. So you can do maybe more security for assets that you've always been able to do with Raven. But if you wanted to do, let's say, a 9 of 15 multi-sig, you could do that now with assets once that's activated. And you can do kind of other sophisticated scripts as well. The scripts actually don't get published on chain, only the hash of the script. And then when you're ready to spend, you need to provide both the script, which solves the hash, and then the solution to the hash, or solution to the script that you posted. And that's all kind of complex, but it's pretty useful, especially for doing things like hopping assets from Ravencoin onto other chains and things like that. So for those of you who've seen P-Raven being hopped and moved, being able to be stored custodially and then moved over to the Binance Smart Chain, it would give those same types of capabilities to move assets over onto other chains with sophisticated scripts that can be signed by machines and things like that. So securing those assets on the Ravencoin chain while they're living on another chain and then bringing them back. So it's pretty important and allows us to kind of extend the ecosystem. As far as the code was written quite a while ago. We just want to make sure, in light of everything that's happened, that everything is secure, that there's no weaknesses, that doesn't open up security holes and things like that. So that's really been the focus, is to make sure that that is the case. So to that end, quite a few people have looked at it, both kind of developers. I also want to do a shout out to all the developers that have kind of jumped in. We did lose the kind of core team that was being funded by Medici Ventures, and other people really stepped up. And some people have done it, for the bounty. Some people, some of the core, some of these volunteer developers are working for bounties, and then some of them are volunteering way beyond that. And hopefully we can figure out a way to make sure that that's, helps them, some way to help them, whether it's from the foundation funds or whatever. We want to make sure take care of the developers that have really been helping out. We did hire the same firm that we used for the previous security audit that we did kind of just as a kind of a safety measure to kind of go through and look at everything. We hired them again, and it's independent security evaluators. And it's ise.io if you want to look them up. And they have done a review of P2SH. And that right now, the link to that, I believe, has been published in the development meetings on Discord. But I'll also get that published on the Ravencoin.Foundation website with the other security audit documents. So they went through it. They didn't find anything concerning. There have been a lot of other changes that we intend to activate at the same time as P2SH. And so I would like to get more review of that, which I was hoping they'd do it as part of this, but they didn't. So I'd like to get that looked at. P2SH is active on the testnet. So if people want to jump in and look at it and test it and try it and build scripts and all of that, it's live and running on testnet. So that's it's already active. It just isn't active on mainnet yet. As far as activation, so that was one of the questions. When P2SH, that would be, I think it's kind of a combination of things. One, we need to get security signatures, being able to sign the code. That's part of it. I'm working on that. We need to make sure that we're confident in the code that's been written that we'll be activating at the same time. Anything that's related to consensus or wallets needs, kind of an extra level of care. The things that are, cosmetic and things like that, fixing shadows, speeding things up, things like that, that don't affect consensus aren't critical, but any critical things we need to have that looked at. And then at that point, the way it activates is, and we mentioned this before, the way Taproot's activating, the same way that Taproot's activating on Bitcoin, basically BIP9. It was written quite a while ago. We've used it for all of our other activations of consensus code, and that is there's excuse me, there's a start date, and it can start activating at that point, and then it watches each of the blocks that are being mined by pools that are using the new code. Hey, I apologize for the background noise. I'm at the airport. So I'll give it just a second.
Nelson, Santiago, Tavares, and Barris are up. Please board your flight out of gate 20 as your flight is boarded and right for departure.
Okay, so sorry about that. So it activates by basically all the blocks that are mined by mining pools, which actually create the blocks that are using the new software. So if the mining pools download the new software and all the miners that are mining with that, they create the blocks. And it basically starts counting those blocks. There's 2016 blocks per cycle, and it needs to have a percentage per cycle. And we'll probably end up setting that, this will be a discussion, but probably in the 75%, 80% range. It needs to be a solid majority just to make sure there isn't kind of any weirdness right at that borderline. You don't want to set it at like 51, even though it's a majority, because stuff could change. So a solid majority, and it counts those blocks. As long as there's a solid majority in it, and it covers we don't actually set a percentage. We pick the number of blocks, so it'll be something like 1,600 out of 2016 blocks. That'll be a percentage. And it will automatically activate once the full cycle is completed. And then there's another cycle before it actually activates. So another 2016 blocks. Each block's 1 minute, so that's about 1.4 days. So it'll be a full 1.4 days after that for people to kind of get on board to make sure they're on the right chain. There'll be quite a bit of us communicating with we'll call them the economic actors, any exchanges or people who accept Raven for payment, now payments, etc., to make sure that they're all updated. They can run the newer code right away because it won't theirs won't activate until those two cycles have happened, the voting cycle and the I guess buffer time cycle. I don't know what you want to call it. So that's how it'll activate. We're not quite to the point where we've released and signed the code yet, so we're not quite there, but it's getting close. And I'm happy to take any questions, or if you could remind me of the questions that I got that I haven't answered.
Any questions? Okay, let's see. Were there any questions in YouTube? We still have people watching us.
There's a question for Tron in YouTube.
Go ahead. Do you know what it was? Because
it says, question for Tron, is privacy going to be implemented? Maybe this is a question you already asked.
Oh yeah, so I heard that question. So privacy implemented. So right now, there's currently no plans to do, let's say, uh, something like ZK snarks or, there's 3 or 4 ring signatures, et cetera. There's, just Monero or ZK snarks like Beam and Grin. There's no plans to implement privacy along those lines.
I don't see any other questions after that. So
Perfect. Perfect. How do you guys like this? This is a new platform that we're doing. It's actually, I think it worked out very well. I was a little bit nervous because something new, trying to see if it works. We did have technical difficulties. Thank you, Ricky, for making sure that worked. You got plugged in. I appreciate it. And everybody in YouTube all around the world. To our buddy in Australia for watching. We appreciate you all. Hopefully everything sounded well. Hold on. Tron, what is the latest update on Coinbase application? From Johnny Borgstorm.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we did the application quite a while ago. We did the first one. I think the questions that Coinbase asks are primarily related to whether or not Raven is a security, and clearly it isn't. In fact, it's probably better from a legal perspective than almost any other coin except for maybe Bitcoin. And that's just because everybody disappeared. The original developers and everything disappeared from that project. And then we found out we needed to do the Rosetta API, and some developers have worked on that, did a great job. It's complete, it's done, the code's there. Thank you to them, huge thank you. And so I went through and basically filled out the form again, and basically, was trying to just tell them, hey, here's Rosetta API, here's what you need. But there was kind of no way to do just that. So I basically filled out the form again. So that's kind of where we're at. I haven't received anything specifically back from them saying, yes or no or anything specific.
Okay, next question from Bitcoin Brainstormers. Now the questions are coming in right when we're about to wrap it up. Bitcoin Brainstormer says, is it appropriate that someone can view a securities wallet?
So let's say someone did, we actually had a name for this. I called it the Bill Gates problem. This is, kind of way back in 2015 with T0. And one of the problems is, if there's small amounts, and you just know that it's an account R, ABC, whatever the letters are for the Ravencoin address, it's probably not a big deal. But if you know that, that the big owner of Microsoft is Bill Gates, there will be one address that has a huge number, and you can instantly kind of associate that with Bill Gates. That becomes a problem if that same address decides to buy Amazon or some other competitor or something like that, and you can start associating. So I can see that being a problem, but really just for the massive for the massive holders. And you can create a different address if you want to hold something separately or differently, and not associated with your name. Right now, in the U.S. law, and actually a few other big Western countries, you have to KYC with somebody, so they're going to know who you are and how much you have, and et cetera. Anyway, it's not an anonymous kind of thing. But I can see the disadvantage of a very large holder of that being identifiable by just the quantity, because that's all you'll see is an address and a quantity.
All right. There's another question coming from Sky. Sky Animates. Are there plans to work with Komodo and Atomic Dex concerning assets?
Yes, definitely. I've talked to them several times, not at a deep technical level yet, but one of the things that was clearly needed was P2SH for assets. So They've already done stuff with Raven. It's specifically Raven is already on Atomic Dex. Done tests and stuff with that. Played with that. They had a big test with a high volume thing, and Raven was in there. So I was buying stuff with Raven, being able to swap that. It worked great. But assets are not available until P2SH is available.
Okay, there's another question that keeps coming up, but I'm not sure if there's what's going on. But the question keeps coming up. What about Bruce Fenton? What about Bruce Fenton here? What about Bruce Fenton? What's going on? I don't understand the question. They're not really elaborating the question. Is there something that I don't know?
So I think part of that is Bruce Fenton is on the white paper, co-authored. We kind of worked on it together. And I think they would just like Bruce to talk more about Ravencoin, and so would I. He is working on lots and lots of other projects, and I definitely don't speak for him. So I don't want to say anything that I would let him answer that question. I guess is what I'm saying. But he's still a fan of Ravencoin, to my knowledge. So
perfect.
Well, I've seen Bruce in Discord up in within recently is a week ago, so he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around.
He just
still a
hops in and
fan.
out.
Yes, he came in pretty strong. I think he wasn't a big fan of the foundation kind of paying to get the stable coin as an asset. But he's still, as far as I know, a big Ravencoin fan and holder, and I have talked to him about talking about Ravencoin, especially in the context of his company and his Watchdog Capital and that kind of thing, and I think there's just some legal challenges and stuff that he needs to make sure that he kind of steers clear of certain things. So.
All right. So what about Patrick? I guess that's another name that kept popping up, Patrick.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen probably the same thing you guys have seen, right? Some videos where, he's investing in gold, silver, Bitcoin, and Ravencoin. As far as I know, that's still the case. I have not spoken with him.
Perfect. Hi. That was quick and short. Love it. Love it. Love it. And thank you. We're going to wrap it up right here, because that looks like we're done with the questions. Everybody's happy with that.
Can I just say a couple more things I forgot to mention?
Okay, really quick, go ahead.
So yeah, Synth and I worked on a big project over the past week, a new website called Raven Bay, RVNBAY.com. Just check it out. It's just kind of a place where we can kind of get aggregate details as far as like marketplace, artist bios, and the Raven Trader website. And also, I just want to say happy birthday. It was her birthday week this week. One of our artists. Okay, that's it.
All right, happy birthday. Nice. Tron, where can people interested in Ravencoin buy Ravencoin, develop on Ravencoin, and communicate with the Ravencoin community?
Yeah, so that's part of the goal of the foundation is to kind of keep not a centralized place, because anybody can do the same thing, but you can communicate with me directly at tron@ravencoin.foundation. There's lots and lots and lots of links. We've just got this massive footer on the Ravencoin.foundation. You can still go to ravencoin.org. You can still go directly, when the links to all of this is there, you can still go to the GitHub directly. You can submit issues if you're having issues. There's been some amazing developers that have been active over the last 3, 4, 5 months. Helping with the issues. So a lot of those fixes and stuff will be in the next version, which will will be available before activation, right? All the features and fixes and improvements will be there. It's just the P2SH thing won't activate until it's voted in, but all the kind of improvements will be there. You can join in if you want to join in to help with either marketing or accounting or with with the development, etc. Just send me your name, put your name out there on the GitHub. You can just do pull requests. I definitely don't want to get in the way of it being a decentralized project. There's no reason it needs to go through the foundation. There's nothing that the foundation provides that isn't kind of able to be provided by anyone. But it is there to, like, if you want to introduce yourself and have me introduce you to, to the right people, for either projects you want to build, for development, for anything, right? Just contact me and I can help make introductions.
Awesome. Now, thank you guys. Now, in regards to the C3 Media team, you can go to www.c3media.tech. That is the letter C, number 3, media.tech. That is our website. Or head over to Discord, C3 Media. You'll see, obviously, you can connect with us, chit chat there if you guys want to get on the podcast. For anybody that is watching live that obviously has a crypto project and wants to talk about it. With that said, Cryptonauts and Ravenites all around the globe, thank you for being part of this conspiracy. With that said, stack